Civil Defense Commission that these items are available and can be deposited there at short notice.
Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu has ordered ministerial intervention in the flooded district. And so far, Minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Annette Ferguson, was dispatched to the region on Thursday, and the Minister of State, Joseph Harmon, is to visit the flood-hit areas on Friday. Unlike in the past, the introduction of national radio in Lethem has been instrumental in keeping Region 9 residents informed about what's taking place around them.
It is important to note that the community radio stations which have been established in the hinterland region is playing an important role in keeping residents in these communities informed about the actions that are being taken by the government and by the regional administration.
Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. A woman who was busted this week with cocaine she had ingested and inserted into her pelvic area was on Thursday jailed for 3 years after admitting to attempting to smuggle the narcotic. More from Jevon Vickery.
The woman, 37-year-old Natasha Blair of Grove Housing Scheme East Bank, Demerara, was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment and fined $1.1 million for attempting to traffic cocaine through the Chedijagan International Airport. She confessed that on July 2, she attempted to traffic a quantity of cocaine. Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit Prosecutor Conyo Sandiford disclosed that on the day of the incident, Blair was an outgoing passenger on a flight destined for JFK International Airport. Sandiford stated that she was apprehended by a Kanu officer after they suspected her to be a drug mule. The Kanu prosecutor noted that the woman was taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital and x-rayed. The x-ray showed foreign objects in her stomach and pelvic area, suspected to be pellets filled with cocaine. Kanu stated that Blair excreted 32 cocaine pellets which amounted to 322 grams and 210 grams was extracted from her vaginal area. The woman told Ranks of Kanu that she smuggled the drugs because she needed the money for herself and her young child. Jevon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Jevon. After the break, Newtown mother appeals for help. House collapsed. No injuries reported. You're watching the HGP Nightly News. Welcome back. 3 fishermen were charged on Thursday for the theft of a vessel belonging to the Guyana Revenue Authority. The men were released on $250,000 bail each. More from Jevon Vickery.
44-year-old boat captain Nazir Khan, 29-year-old Himchan Moonchan, and 33-year-old Tejram Budram, all residents of Annandale East Coast, Demerara, were arraigned before Chief Magistrate Ann McLennan on Thursday morning. The charge against the men alleged that on July 2 at Rimeveld, Georgetown, they stole a vessel valued $2.5 million, property of the Guyana Revenue Authority. The men were not required to plead to the indictable charge. Prosecutor Gordon Mansfield, in presenting the state's case, explained that on the day of the discovery, enforcement officers from GRA, based on information received, carried out an exercise at Mahaika and found the vessel. The prosecution further noted that the vessel was secured to the Rimeveld Police Marine Wharf for safekeeping about 30 hours on the day it went missing. It was further stated by the prosecution that at 2 hours 15 the boat was discovered missing, prompting a police search. Police later found the boat being towed by another boat with 4 men aboard. The prosecution had no objection to bail. The matter is adjourned until July 20. Jevon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.
There are ranks who need to be disciplined, while some are anxiously awaiting their promotion. The Police Service Commission will do well for the force, says head of the CID, who is also in the race for Police Commissioner. Here are the details. Prime Chief Paul Williams has added his voice for the sooner rather than later reconstitution of the Police Service Commission. It is the Commissioner of Police who confirms promotions up to the rank of sergeant, while the Police Service Commission, after the review of a list of names provided, promotes persons up to the rank of assistant commissioner.
It is long awaited, and it is very good now, that part is being over with, because I know lots of ranks within the force who, to be benefit, from that body are looking forward for the upward mobility.
Retired Assistant Commissioners of Police Paul Slow, Clinton Conway, and retired Woman Assistant Commissioners of Police Vesta Adams and Claire Jarvis will sit on the Police Service Commission after Parliament recently approved the nominees. Mr. Williams noted that with the reconstitution of the Police Service Commission, some amount of stability will be brought to the force with regards to ranking.
Likewise, it's going to help to bring, some amount of stability and control as it relates to persons who maybe feel as though, they're above the law, wish to spread their rings in terms of being in discipline. So it will do well for us. It is doing well. It will do well for us because we want to really get on with certain things, which definitely comes within the purview or the confine of the Service Commission.
The PSC has the power under the Constitution of Guyana to make appointments of any officer of the Guyana Police Force from the rank of inspector up, as well as to exercise disciplinary control over persons holding or acting in such offices. Nightly News has been reliably informed that Acting Police Commissioner David Ramnarine, who is also an Assistant Commissioner of Police, and Assistant Commissioner of Police Paul Williams are the two top candidates for the office of Commissioner of Police. On the 5th of January 2018, Ramnarine told a press conference that the GPF is eagerly awaiting the resuscitation of the PSC.
Of course, the senior ranks in the force eagerly await the reconstitution of the Police Service Commission.
Ramnarine had said that there is no scarcity of ranks in the Guyana Police Force.
That we may appear to be a bit scarce in the senior ranks. And that is because last year alone we lost, quote unquote lost, 13 senior ranks by way of retirement in particular, including 3 assistant commissioners, senior superintendents and the superintendents, 13.
The appointment of a police commissioner will be done after consultation between the president and the opposition leader. The members of the previous PSC were sworn in back in September 2014. The life of that commission expired in 2017. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. The government has expressed its commitment to pay sugar workers their severance while expressing disgust at the legal maneuvers surrounding the promised payout. This story from Jevon Vickery.
The Sugar Union GAWU has filed an application in the High Court demanding that more than 4,000 of its members be paid their severance. This comes after the government had promised to bankroll the payout, and after the first tranche of that payout has already been paid. On Thursday, Minister of State Joseph Harmon placed on the table the government's position on the matter.
Cabinet discussed payment of the second tranche of severance to sugar workers and iterated its commitment to honoring the agreement to make the remaining severance payment within the time it promised.
The government had made no provision in the 2018 national budget for the payment of sugar workers' severance. Minister Harmon explained the source of funds to execute the payout.
Several ministries were actually asked to do a cutback on their budgetary allocations, and we anticipated that all of the money will come from that process. Half of it has already been paid, and the second tranche will take place. It will come directly from government sources that will be paid in the second half of the year.
Minister Harmon also expressed disgust at the manner in which the Sugar Union GAWU is approaching the matter of the second tranche of the payout.
In fact, the government has acknowledged that. So sometimes I really wonder why people are in a sense abusing the court system by going to get a declaration and saying to the government, asking the court to tell the government that you must pay, when in fact the government has already determined that it will pay, and that it will pay the second tranche within the second half of the year. And we've committed ourselves to that.
GAWU's application to the High Court for the immediate payout of sugar workers' severance is to be heard on July 20. Jevon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.
In this story, a Newtown woman is appealing for urgent help after her house collapsed while her 8 children were watching television. A decrepit wooden house at Danrad Street, Newtown, collapsed yesterday and displaced a mother and her 8 children. Annette Haywood, a single parent, said that it was just before noon when the house in which she lived for 37 years collapsed.
Well, yesterday when we wake up, we was about to do our work, and next thing you know, the house came down was after 11 minutes to 12 yesterday. That was it. So nobody get hurt. Thank God for that.
Where were the children and so forth?
Right inside watching cartoon yesterday on Channel 80.
Nightly News was told that residents advised Haywood to make sure that her family stay away from the yard, but Haywood says she has no place else to go. What's left of the house is currently being held up by pieces of wood, a very risky situation. The 40-year-old mother said promises had been made by her relatives to repair the structure before it collapsed. How long have you been living here?
But 37 years.
37 years.
Yes, because I come here when I was a baby.
And is the land in disputed?
No, when I come, the house was a bit high because we used to play upon the house. But once the rain falling, the land begin to get, so the house dropped.
Okay.
And it fell after how much years. But my aunt was to do the house, so how long? So we keep asking her to do it, but she keep telling me, no, she doing it, and year come, year go, we ain't see nothing. So yesterday when the house fall, I feel she get the news.
The woman said she's raising all her children at the very house since their fathers have neglected them. Nightly News arrived at the house just as Haywood had been preparing a meal for her children. She's appealing for urgent assistance.
Yes, I would like to own my own house. I don't know if that's possible, but I would like it very much. So I'm asking for a little help from me and my children.
Welcome back to the HGP Nightly News. The body of the younger cousin who went for a swim and disappeared on the water on Monday has been retrieved. Here are the details. 3 days after he and his cousin went for a swim at the Unity Mahaika foreshore and disappeared on the water, the body of 10-year-old Timothy Yearwood was retrieved Thursday morning from the Atlantic Ocean at Brush Dam, Buxton on the east coast of Demerara. Lyndon McCurdy, who discovered the body of the child, said that Yearwood's brother and him were determined to find the young Timothy and had set out early Thursday morning on that mission.
We start work on 7 o'clock and meet at 10 o'clock. Because we depend on the seawall all the time, we ain't coming off. We looking for it because we got to get it.
Timothy Yearwood and Timothy Robinson were cousins. They had left their Mosquito Hall Mahaika home on Monday for a swim at the Unity Mahaika foreshore with 4 other boys when they disappeared at sea. Robinson's body was found Tuesday evening at the Hope foreshore. Yearwood's mother said she had left her son in the care of his aunt when he disobeyed her instructions to clean the yard and went to the Mahaika foreshore.
No. I wasn't at home.
Right.
And I get a message that I find the other friend close, the cousin close on the seawall. And when we go there, we didn't see nobody.
He got away from home, tell me that.
Yes, he got away from home.
He went to go swim.
Yeah. I don't know. If I can't really say, I wasn't home. He got away from his aunt.
Police have ruled out foul play. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. Regulatory and fiscal agencies are pumping up steam to ensure Guyana's full compliance with recommendations by the Paris-based Financial Task Force FATF. Eugene Noel covered the National Risk Assessment Workshop on Wednesday. He reports now.
The Legal Affairs Ministry is coordinating a working group comprised of the country's regulatory, financial and fiscal agencies with a view to plugging loopholes in the financial sector to stave off the far-reaching adverse effects of money laundering and the financing of terrorism. Guyana in the recent past has conducted a national risk assessment and implemented a string of regulations to bring the financial sector in line with international best practices. Participating agencies in that national risk assessment met in a seminar at the Georgetown Club on Wednesday to take stock of what mitigating measures have been implemented so far and to point out hindrances to the desired outcome of the National Risk Assessment. The entire 8-hour seminar was overseen by Minister of Legal Affairs, Basil Williams, who described the situation regarding risks in the financial system.
Through the NRA, we were able to do a thorough assessment to determine what risks exist and the nature of those risks. We were also able to uncover threats on our vulnerable areas. The NRA determined our overall risk of money laundering, that the overall risk of money laundering in Guyana is high. This outcome stems from the high rate assigned to the overall national threat and vulnerability, which was rated medium-high.
Guyana is scheduled to be assessed by the Paris-based Financial Action Task Force, FATF, in 2022. And it is crucial that the country enforces a culture of due diligence and enhanced due diligence when applicable to demonstrate at the FATF forum that the integrity of this country's financial system is sustainably protected and that threats to the international financial system are eradicated. Standalone professionals and many areas of business that have been questionably compliant with existing financial regulations, among them vehicle owners, pawnbrokers, unofficial cambios, gold dealers and traders, will all be required to fall in line or face the heat.
It is against the immediate outcomes that FATF will assess Guyana's efforts, ultimately determining whether our AML-CFT regime is effective. We must show effectiveness, among other things, in the area of international cooperation, supervision, that legal persons and arrangements are not being misused for money laundering and terrorist financing purposes. Financial intelligence is being utilized appropriately, and that we have money laundering and terrorist financing investigations, prosecutions, confiscations, and convictions.
Agencies involved in the work of the National Task Force, including SOCU, SARA, the FIU, the GRA, and the Bank of Guyana, are crisscrossing a plethora of MOUs to establish an environment through which the authorities can be afforded a stringent review of all transactions and a greater understanding of the flow of money in, around, and out of the country.
All reporting entities and DNFBPs, designated financial businesses and professions, must be effectively supervised to ensure their compliance with the AML-CFT laws and regulations. Supervisors need to become more active in their supervision functions by providing training, doing on-site visits, and ensuring that their respective entity complies with the AML-CFT laws.
The opening of the seminar was attended by Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, Public Security Minister Kemrat Ramjitan, Minister of Business Dominic